o'clock on a Saturday. Real quick. It's 1 o'clock on a Saturday, so you know what that means. It's time for Intelligent Ignorance. The team is here right here on New Twist Radio. And right out the gate, breaking news, breaking sports news. You got to break it right here. Maybe you heard it for the first time right here, because I heard it from the first time from that way. We just talked about the Jimmy Butler is a Sixer. Jimmy Butler's headed to the Sixers for Dario Saric and Robert Covington. Bring in Jimmy. I hope it works out, and I hope the Sixers can sign him long term, and maybe we can make something happen. But that's just sports news for right now, and you know we're not a sports show, so we're not really gonna go into it. But I'm a sports fan, and I'm a Sixers fan, so I had to talk about that. But today, our main topic is talking about the United States of America, the business of the United States. Not the business is, but the business that is the United States of America, the corporation, United States Incorporated. And without further ado, I got to bring on my esteemed co-host, my man R. Dot is in the building. What's going on, good brother?
It was happening, man. I'm still in shock over here from this. I'm still in shock from this Jimmy Butler news, man. I thought he was all set to end up in Miami with my Heat, but it looks like that fell through. So, congratulations to Philly. I hope it works out.
I do too. And real quick, some housekeeping information here. The music is provided to you by OBS Productions. Check him out on Instagram. Check out his music. A talented brother, can do his thing. Got a lot more music on there and a lot more to come. So definitely check him out. OBS Productions on Instagram. So the United States before we get into that, right? Last Saturday we talked about the election. Now that day has come and gone. Election day has come and gone. And there are some things that are still out there that are undecided. And I just wanted to point out that, you know, there are people that don't believe completely their option. That is their choice. I get that. Okay. I am not one of those people that subscribe to that way of thinking. I believe voting, your vote counts. I believe you can vote for change. I believe voting is probably the only chance you have to have your voice be heard, quite honestly. Now, I just wanted to remind people that voted or not, the elected officials officially work for you. Now it's time to hold them accountable for what they do and the decisions that they make. You trusted them, or maybe you did not trust them with your vote, but they're the ones that elected. You make sure you hold them accountable. Keep them honest, because they're getting a check and it's coming from your pocket. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But what's up, R. Dot? I'm sorry, I don't know if I cut you off or not, but what's up with you, man? It's Saturday. It's a beautiful day.
It's windy as I don't know what though. This weather is crazy. You know, it was 60-something one day, it was 35 the next. Mother Nature is bipolar, and I know you just brought up some housekeeping. Let me make sure we get in episode 10 sponsor, Amon's Dining with a Twist. Make sure you join Amon's Dining with a Twist for Trap and Brunch coming up December 15th at Artscape in Wilmington, Delaware, 205 North Market Street. Make sure you check out Amon's Dining on Instagram and join them for Trap and Brunch. Man, I'm just so excited. The podcast is growing, man. So many great things happening with what we're doing. We're covering some controversial topics. I'm getting a lot of people hitting me up throughout the week, asking what we're talking about, asking about what we just talked about. So I'm really excited for what's going on for us, man.
Yeah, a lot of big things going on, and actually next week we're going to be live on location. We'll get that information out to you all throughout the week. So definitely, when we're live on location, you definitely want to come and check us out. Say what's up to the Intelligent Ignorance team. Live from where we'll be. We'll be at a restaurant next week. I'm gonna just put that out there right now. We're finalizing details, and I'm going over to check out the spot a little later after the show, and I can't wait. It's going to be exciting. It's been a little while since I've been live on location, so I'm definitely excited for that. Things are definitely growing fast. One thing that is growing is the business of America, and you kind of brought this topic to life for me in a sense. And I've always said that America is a business, and it's being run like a business right now by the person that's in charge. This person is a businessman. He's a businessman, so he knows how to do nothing else. Well, I shouldn't say that, but he is his knowledge base is running a business, and this country is being ran like a business. And for people that don't like me saying this country is a business, oh well, ain't nothing. It is what it is. Okay? Have your own opinion. Call us up. 215-383-3992. Call us up and you tell me your opinion. All right? This is an open discussion. I'm not going to attack you. I don't bite unless you want me to, but that's a whole nother discussion. I'm a married man now, so it doesn't matter. But the business of the United States, very interesting because people feel that we live in a country that is better than every other country on the face of the earth. But are we living in a country, R. or are we living in a corporation? What are we living in?
Man, I mean, when you look at it realistically, and I know as somebody who's been, and I'll say it blatantly, property of the United States government, because when you are enlisted, they do view you as property of the United States government. It is so much more of a business than it is the land of the free, because we know freedom's not free. We know democracy is not free. We know that there's no such thing as a free lunch. So when we say land of the free, what does that really mean in context of what we do as a society? It's really interesting in the conversation that we had, which we're bringing to the people today, because it started out with us talking about the shooter at the California bar and what his comments were on Facebook about the people of the country were not going to do anything in turn from his actions. So it wasn't going to bring about any change. All we were going to do is send prayers and well wishes. And that really struck because it's somewhat of a double-edged sword. If we do actually force change, is it forced by the individual who did this heinous attack? So that's something in terms of we don't negotiate with terrorists. So we're taking action in direct response to it. And then if and when we do take action and how we could potentially take action, how does that change the landscape of businesses? We know that the relationship with the NRA and our government is extremely volatile because of all of the rights for gun owners, and these organizations and establishments literally run our governments by their funding.
Absolutely, and I want to touch on the things that you're talking about. But I when you were talking, I realized something, and it's slightly off topic, but it goes to something that you just mentioned. You talked about this shooting in California that happened this week. Okay, 2 weeks ago, or 2 weeks before that, there was, or 2 weeks ago, I think, like today, I believe, maybe 2-3 weeks ago today, the shooting at the synagogue.
Right.
And when I started this radio journey, podcast journey, whatever you want to call it, this is a live podcast, live show. If there was a shooting's been happening for a while. I mean, I'm sure Columbine was not the first mass shooting, but it's one of the first mass shootings that come to mind when I think about mass shootings and the history of them. But 10 years, or not 10 years ago, about 8 years ago, close to 10 years ago, when I started this journey, if there was a shooting, that's what we would be talking about. And we planned the show after the shooting happened,
Right.
and I'm saying this because think about how things have changed in the last 10 years as a country and as a people. That on this show, our main topic is not the shooting. Our main topic of a couple of weeks ago was not the shooting at the synagogue.
Right.
Think about that. It has become almost commonplace, a common, what's the word I'm looking for? A common tragic place in our society right now to have these mass shootings happen.
Well,
And
interestingly enough, Jay, let me interject something to your point. So I actually did some research, and I found a statistic on USA Today. It said that the shooting in California was the 307th mass shooting this year, meaning that through 311 days of 2018, we've had 307 mass shootings. And that is an astronomical number. I mean, throughout all of those events, 328 people died, 1,252 were injured.
that's outlandish. That's crazy. And this is what this is what I want to say. At part, what? Because let's put it this way: there has not been 300 some mass shootings reported on the new or on the local news or on the national news. There hasn't been 300 shoot. They haven't been reporting a shooting every day. So has it become such a commonplace in our society that these shootings happen that you don't even report them as much anymore? You don't even tell people about them. It's very interesting, and we'll talk about some of the news, how the news cycle works, because we discussed that as well, how the news cycle works here in the United States compared to other countries. And so, wow, that number is just staggering. And I kind of wonder what they consider a mass shooting, being that the numbers are that high. Okay. 215-383-3992. We're talking about, I know it sounds like we're talking about shootings in the United States, but we're not. We're actually talking about the America, the business. United States Incorporated. We're talking about the business known as the United States of America. One of the most profitable businesses in the world, probably. And go ahead. Were you about to say something?
Oh, yeah. So I just wanted to give you exactly how they defined it. So they said that the numbers included incidents where 4 or more people were shot or killed, not including the shooter.
Four or more people were shot and or killed. Okay. Not
Correct.
Including the shooter.
Right.
So if it was 3 people and the shooter, it wouldn't count.
Correct.
So it was 4 people. Okay, I got you. Okay, 215-383-3992. This is Intelligent Ignorance. We're talking about America, the business. And I'm gonna go into it by talking about the news cycle. And Ryan, this week you brought something to my attention that I personally did not know. And, I've worked in the news, I've worked in the media basically since '99. And I didn't even know this because my news knowledge really only extends to the United States. Outside of the United States, I've been to a few countries. I've been to 3 countries outside of the United States. I gotta get my passport up. Okay, I've been to 3 countries outside of the United States, and really, I probably never paid attention to the news while I was there because I was always like vacation, so you don't really pay attention to the news. But I want you to tell the audience. I want you to tell the Twist family. I want you to tell them how the news cycle works from your experience in other countries.
Yeah, man, it was a super interesting. I don't want to really call it a discovery, but it was just something interesting that I noticed through my travels from the military, being in so many different countries over the course of my enlistment. That when we saw news in other countries, their tactic for news was not to put the negative things out there. And they didn't put those negative things on display. because they wanted to ensure that the people were informed and not afraid. It was all about keeping the people's ideal of their environment as safe as possible. They didn't want people to think that where they lived was violent or where they lived there was so much tragedy going on. So they kept it really, really, really positive in their news interactions. And I thought that that was something, even if you knew, I mean, we were in local countries that these countries are in war. And these countries weren't talking about the casualties of war on their news. They weren't talking about shootings, talking about local events. They were talking about positive people in their communities. They really kept everything positive in terms of what they put out to the people. And it's a stark contrast to what we do here in the United States as to it was kind of the business of the media is the violence sells, the negativity sells, the positive doesn't get noticed.
And yeah, I definitely speak to that. And before I do, I just want to give a quick shout out to Everett Salyer. I interviewed Everett this week, and you can catch that interview. I'm going to post it on YouTube right after. I'm going to post it in a few different places, but right after this, he is working on a documentary, and his company Root Sky Productions only does positive productions. So it made me think about that. By you talking about how the news cycle works in other countries, his company only works with positive productions. So definitely check them out and be on the lookout for that. Going back to what you said about the news cycle here in the United States, a lot of fear mongering, and we really don't look at the news as fear mongering because why? Because they're talking about what's happening in our world, right? But then it makes me think a little bit about hip hop music. And for a long time, hip hop music was not accepted by the masses. Okay, until once it got commercially accepted, people looked at it a little differently. Excuse me. But it makes me think about how hip hop music was telling harsh stories. A lot of times they were telling very harsh stories. They were telling about their community. Not even though a lot of times they would say, "I did this, I did that." They're really telling the story of someone else, okay, or someone they know, or a story that they heard of in their neighborhood. And a lot of times the government got involved and said, we can't have this type of music out there and influencing people and whatever the case may be. But the world, the music was influenced by the world. Okay. So I want you to tell me, Dot, what would be the difference between, and this is an old conversation, but what would be the difference between having music tell the stories of what's happening in the world and the news telling stories of what's happening? Is there any difference there?
I personally don't think that there's any difference because it's all a system of control in terms of what people want to be displayed. So when we talk about music, the music industry in the past, not exactly so much today, but the music industry in the past was controlled by executives at these record labels who said, here's the type of music we are going to put out to the public. Now, there's so many different avenues where people can put their music out independently. We have SoundCloud. There's so many different avenues for artists today to get their voices heard. And now you hear the variety of stories. So, when you think back to like the late 90s when hip hop was becoming to the height and Jay-Z was winning Grammys, the common context or what was depicted was that the music was only about women, money, and drugs. So it was the commonplace back then to assume that was the only thing that took place in our environment because that's what those record labels put out because that's what was selling. That's what was relevant in terms of the mainstream that they look to create. Now, when you look, because there's so many different platforms, you have conscious rap, you have gangster rap, you have hardcore rap, you have rap that tells stories.
Rock rap.
I mean, it's just completely different from what was out there 15, 20 years ago to what's out there now. And I think it's all about what changed with that system of control. And I think it's the same thing with the media. So the media, obviously, we know a lot of those relationships are controlled by political influence. So when you talk about what gets displayed, when we talk about our current president and his disdain for media because he feels like a lot of the news that comes out is fake news. It's not fake news. It is news that is factual and it is news that's relevant. But when someone in a certain position doesn't want to see that news and they have control over certain avenues of how that information gets displayed, it begins to change the landscape of what people consume. And I think that now we're seeing that more so with what comes out because we are changing what people are consuming. Even if you thought back about the news 15 to 20 years ago, if you think back, and let's say 20 years ago, let's go back to Columbine time. When we talk about shootings, there definitely weren't 300 mass shootings in a year going on at that point. Or if there were, we weren't made aware of it. And then when it got to the height of it, I mean, we heard about shootings consistently. And now it seems like we selectively hear about events.
Normally, well, let me tell you why part of that is.
Right.
The news, just like every other business in America and in the world, I guess, is all about the money. It's all about the money. And what makes money in TV is having advertisers. Okay, what allows advertisers to know they want to advertise with your network? Eyeballs. They want to know how many eyeballs are on that screen and when those eyeballs are on the screen. Okay, there's more eyeballs on the screen at 6 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock at night than there are at 3 o'clock in the morning. So the news has to run a cycle of news that's going to keep people interested enough to keep watching, to keep the advertisers happy, and keep the advertisers coming saying, I want to advertise on your network. So basically what it comes down to is money, okay? Because let me tell you what I did the night of the shooting. When the shooting happened overnight on, I don't remember what day it was. I think it was Tuesday night, Wednesday night. The shooting happened overnight, okay? At let's call it 11 o'clock at night. I was at work. This is the following day. I was at work, and I said, you know what? I really haven't watched the news today. I want to see what's going on with that shooting. 5, 6 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, a shooting like that happens, that's on the news cycle the entire day. The entire day. Okay, that's all you're seeing is that to the point where you're like, I'm turning this off. I'm sick of hearing about this. I turn on the TV at night. I turn on CNN. They did not mention that shooting for at least an hour after I turned the TV on. At least an hour. And this is, I say this to say that I'll give you 2 guesses of what they were talking about. Right? I'm gonna give you 2 guesses because I don't think you'll get the first one wrong, but just in case, I'm going to let you get 2. What do you think they were talking about when I turned on the TV, CNN at 11 something at night?
Last week, election coverage.
Yes and no. Yes and no. They were talking about Donald Trump.
Right.
I said I was going to give you 2. My bad. I just gave you 1. Whatever. So that's really what they talk about because that's the hot topic right now, right? Everyone wants to talk about Trump because everyone is watching Trump. They want to see, people are either watching Trump to see what he said, what he did, or is he impeached? is he guilty or not? That's what people are watching, turning on the news for. I used to turn on CNN to find out what's happening across the globe. I think those days must be over because that just does not happen anymore. And one more thing, and I want to move on from the news. CNN is when you talk about news, they talk about the news. I'm not really sure you can say they report the news anymore. Okay, if you see them live on location, they're reporting the news. They have shows. They have commentary shows. All right, think about your local news. Your local news probably doesn't have commentary shows. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, they have commentary shows. So what happens is they talk about the news and they have people come in to talk about what's in the news and talk about their opinion and how they see it. But how they see it in their opinion is not actually the news. I think people get that confused. Okay, and I just wanted to say that my last word on that is the news is out here to make money. Okay, that's what it is. It's all part of being a business in America. The news is out here to make money, and the fear mongering. You know, if you talk about people shooting and all that, a lot of people are going to want to protect themselves from shootings. And what they're going to do, they're going to buy guns, right? So then you get more shootings. And then you get to talk about gun control, but we're not going to control the guns because it's your right to own a gun. It's your right to bear arms, right? So we're not going to take that freedom away from you, and we're not going to do but so much regulating on it because guns is big business in this country. Guns are very big business in this country, okay? And I'm gonna tell you what. Guns might be even bigger business in this country. Would you agree with me?
Oh, of course.
Now we're talking about. Go ahead.
It goes back to the context of when we have those conversations about gun control, and majority, and I don't want to say all because that's not factual, but a good portion of incidents involving guns, criminal activity involving guns, those guns are attained illegally. They aren't being used by people who go and pass background checks and they get their licensing and they get their license to carry and their registered weapons. These are individuals who are using illegal weapons. So when a majority of those things occur, it's not about controlling the individuals who obtain weapons the right way. It's about restricting access for those who obtain weapons the wrong way.
Say that again, Ryan. Say it again.
I mean, and just to get people to really understand, the gun control for the legitimate buyer is not the issue. And I know some people will point out to some of those larger shootings, like the Las Vegas shooting, where the shooter did actually obtain his weapons legally. But I don't believe that the gun control for those type of consumers is the issue. When we have so many incidents, criminal activities involving guns, where those weapons aren't obtained legally. You have people stealing weapons. You have people importing weapons. You have a bunch of people who are involved in criminal activity where these weapons are not legally registered. These weapons are not legally purchased. So a lot of the confusion comes in to try to stop or restrict the sale of guns when the legitimate sales aren't the majority of the issues. The issues come from those who steal guns and those who have obtained guns illegally. So we need to focus on more controlling illegal activity as opposed to restricting the legal flow of weapons. But that's a whole nother show that we can get into too.
215-383-3992, 215-383-3992. We're talking about the business, the America, the corporation. We're talking about how everything in this country is about the dollar, and it probably will never ever not be about the dollar. We spoke about news, the news cycle. We spoke about guns because that led us into the news cycle discussion led us into the guns because we're talking about yet another mass shooting that happened in California here in the United States. One that I want to merge two topics into one under the umbrella of America being a business. And this one we could talk about for 5 hours. Okay. I want to talk about insurance and I want to talk about prescription drugs and how they influence, not how they influence, but how they are the types of things that they influence in this country. So we live in a country where medical services are not free, prescription drugs are not free. I'm gonna just go out and say it. In this country, you're more of a profitable piece in this country if you are sick rather than being cured. Okay, everyone knows this, and if you don't know it, you know it now. The money is not in the cure. The money is in the disease. Understand that. Okay. For instance, there have been people, and I'm using my air quotes, there have been people that have been cured of AIDS, okay, in other parts of the country, in other parts of the world, and in parts of this country, by holistic treatments and actual medical treatments as well. However, what happens is you're more profitable being sick with AIDS or HIV by taking the medication that you need. Okay, there are people that have cancer. Okay, and I'm not even going to get into how what you consume contributes to your cancer. I'm not going to get into how cancer feeds on sugars and how sugar is in almost damn near everything we eat in this country, in the breads, in the drinks. It's stuff that we don't even think about having sugar has sugar in it. Okay, in this country we're addicted to sugar. I'm not talking about natural sugars that comes in fruits and vegetables. I'm talking about sugars that refined sugar, the stuff that comes in the processed foods and meats and all like that. Our food makes us sick. We have to go to the hospital. We have to get put on meds. We have to pay for those meds. But a lot of times, who pays for the meds, Ryan? The insurance companies, right? At least they pay a piece of it. But who's in cahoots with the insurance companies? The government. They gotta go through government loopholes and stuff like that. And then I know there's someone out there listening somewhere that has had some type of insurance that you've been paying on for years that does not want to cover whatever you're going through. They don't want to cover it. It's outside of their coverage. This thing they don't want to cover. Although you've been paying thousands and thousands and hundreds and thousands of dollars to this company, they don't want to pay for what you need them for now. Why is that, Ryan? Help me out. Help me out, please. Talk to me.
Man, if I had the answer for this, I'd be running for office. The medicine,
well, do
the
it.
medical
Run for office,
industry.
damn it. Run for office.
Well, and you know what's funny? It's so crazy because I had on Facebook, they have the memories. A Facebook memory popped up from, I want to say it was today, 2016. And I stated on that I would be running for office in 2020. So it's not off the table yet, people. I could be running for office in 2020. I don't know in what capacity yet. I want to see where I fit in the scope of society. But let me get back to the medical discussion. It's just medicine in America, and we know that all insurances, whether it's car insurance, whether it's health insurance, whether it's insurance on your cell phone, it's in case shit happens. And I go back to the
watch him out, man. Hey, careful now.
I go back to the whole Chris Rock, skit when he was talking about medical insurance and how insurances as a whole, where they don't want to cover specific things, even though you pay for it. And we pay into so many different avenues to provide us some type of protection. And then in some cases, when we need it, it's not there for us. So there's such a crisis in America because there are other countries like Canada where your healthcare is free. And these countries are successfully taking care of their citizens. Their citizens aren't leaving and saying, hey, I need to cross the border. I need to go to America to get seen. We have Americans saying, hey, I need to go to Canada. I don't want to be here in America because the coverage is not here for us as the people. It's here for the businesses to maintain their profit margins. And if we start providing services to any and everybody who actually needs it, then those businesses lose money. So there has to be an adequate measure of who they're going to provide these treatments to. There are well-known treatments around the globe for HIV and AIDS. There are well-known treatments around the globe for all types of cancers. There are medicines even here in the United States that are performing well enough that if they were introduced to the mainstream, that people could see cures, they could see higher survival rates, they could see longer life expectancies. But it's priced out for the average person who's affected. And the only individuals who benefit from it are the wealthy. They have the money to afford those type of medicines. They have the access to those type of providers because we know, well, some of the well-off individuals don't actually need insurance. They pay for what they use. They pay for what they consume. They seek alternative treatments that they pay out of pocket for because they know that insurances don't cover these things. So, like when we think about the government insurance system, when we think about Medicaid, when we think about Medicare, when you look at the level of coverage that you get and the level of service that you get from those type of providers, it's distinctly different from what you get when you're fully employed and you may have and I don't want to call it privatized, but you want to have an employer type of insurance program, whether it be Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Keystone, or Highmark, whoever your company chooses to deal with, you get a higher level of service from them. But then again, it still doesn't cover so many things because we aren't the wealthy 1%. We aren't those individuals that are making the $400,000 annually that can go out and afford a $50,000 treatment. And to kind of give the example, one of my really good friends was diagnosed with cancer, and her doctors were giving her a very low survival rate, and they said unless you can come up with $15,000 for this treatment, which we've seen success with it, and we've seen people recover. And I mean, for somebody to come up with $15,000 who may only have a $40,000 salary, I mean, that's a good portion of your annual income dedicated to a treatment that could potentially save your life. But how does it affect you in other areas? How do you continue to maintain your life after you receive treatment? So the industry as a whole is only set up to protect and help people who can afford it. And I think that in our country, we do our people a disservice by not putting things in place to help people when they need it, and to restrict it only to those who are in that 1 percentile, those who can afford alternative treatments. When we look at the industries as a whole, medical industries are billion-dollar industries, and we can't afford, those companies can't afford to lose their profit margins because they choose not to help the people who need it the most.
215-383-3992. Hit us up. We're talking about America, the incorporation. The corporation. Um, hey, Ryan, you were talking about treatments in Canada, and you talking about medicines in Canada.
Right.
You know who else has cheaper has cheaper prescription medicine?
Russia.
Well, I wasn't thinking about them. I don't know too much about Russia, except for they trying to crack my LinkedIn account. If you saw my Facebook post a couple of days ago, they've been trying to crack my LinkedIn
did.
for the last few months. No, Mexico. Mexico has cheaper prescription drugs. Wow. That as an American, you can actually go over and buy them. Okay, you actually can do that. Now I don't live in I don't live in the area where I can just drive over the border and get them, but and kind of I've been thinking for the last few days because there's been a lot of talk about this wall with this caravan of people coming from Honduras. There's been a lot of talk about this wall going up at the Mexico-United States border, and I started thinking about it. Is this wall really to keep people out? Because we know people are going to get here with the wall being up regardless. So I was wondering, is the wall really going up to keep people out, or is it going up to keep us in? Just a thought I had. I don't know. Just a thought I have, because we can get on a plane and stuff like that. I know people saying you can get on the plane, you can go anywhere you want. We're not crossing the border for no. Maybe we're not crossing the border yet. We're not doing it yet. We could be headed down that line. Who knows? I don't know anything. I'm not saying that I know something that everybody else doesn't know. All I'm saying is the wall going up to keep everyone out or to keep us in? I don't know. Hit us up. 215-383-3992. You're listening to Intelligent Ignorance. Myself, Jay Chris, my man R. Dot. And we're talking about America, the corporation. America, the business known as the United States of America. One of the things I also wanted to touch on as America being a business, one of the biggest issues of America being a business, one of the biggest factors, I should say, taxes. Okay? Local, state, and federal taxes. I'm not talking about your paycheck. I'm talking about the taxes that come out of your paycheck. Think about this. Ryan, have you ever really sat back and thought about all the taxes that kind of happen on a daily basis? Have you ever thought about it?
I have.
Let's think about this. Let's go through like a day. Okay, let's go through a good day. Let's say you got a few $1,000s in your pocket, and you're feeling good, and you're like, you know what? I'm ready. I'm gonna go spend some money. So let's say you start off your day. You go and you buy some coffee. So I don't know if you drink coffee. I don't, but some people do. Coffee costs maybe $1. I don't think you're paying taxes on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't think so. All right. You let's say you want to go to Best Buy. You say, you know what? I want a new TV to put up in my man cave. I want one of them TVs that costs $1,000. Now, you get. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Let's go back to yesterday because yesterday was Saturday. Let's go back to yesterday. You just got paid. All right, I forgot about that part. You just got paid. You got federal, local, and state taxes coming out. So you just got taxed. Right? Am I right or wrong?
Right.
Okay. I'm right. You just got taxed. Now you go to Best Buy. You say, I want this TV. TV costs $1,000. Whatever the percentage of tax is in your state, you just got taxed on the TV.
Thank God there's no taxes in Delaware. Sales tax.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about Philly. I'm going to talk about Philly so I can sound better. But yeah, you're right. When I go to buy stuff, I go to Delaware. You go to Best Buy in Philadelphia, or you go to Circuit City, or whatever. you get taxed on the TV. Am I right?
Right.
So not only did taxes come out of what you earned, taxes have also come out of what you paid. Right?
Double-edged sword.
Okay, so now, so you're still feeling good. You still got money in your pocket. You say, you know what? I think I want to go to the casino. And I don't know what your game of choice. Actually, I do know what your game of choice, but I'm creating this life for you right now. Okay, so you go and you sit down at the slot machine. Okay, I personally I don't play the slots, but to each its own.
Right.
You just hit a jackpot for I don't know, let's say $20,000 at the slot machine. Okay. You're not going to have them come over, and they're not going to give you $20,000 in cash right there. It's not going to happen. What you're going to get is a check. They're going to give you a check. Actually, there's some more factors. They're going to try to get you to put the money back in the machine and all like that. But anyway, you're going to get it. You decide you want to leave. You're going to get a check. You know what else you're going to get with that check, Ryan? Do you know?
Tax form.
You're going to get a tax. Why? Because now the money that you won that was taxed on already when you got your paycheck is now going to get taxed again from the money that you've already paid, from the money that you were taxed to get taxed again. How about that?
I know from experience that in the state of Delaware, you are taxed as income for winnings at the casino.
Absolutely. They consider that income. They consider it income. Now, let's say you have a friend. Let's say you needed a vehicle, and you got a friend that say, "Hey, Brian, you know what? I got an extra car. I'm gonna just give you this car. Right? I'm gonna sign this car over to you. I just signed this car over to you. This car is paid in full. You ain't got to worry about nothing. But once you go to sign this car, once you go to register this car, guess what you got to do? At least in the state of Pennsylvania, guess what you got to do?
Pay taxes. Tag and tax.
You got to pay it. You got to pay a tax on it. Now this car is paid for. All the taxes on this car have been paid. But now that you have the car, now you got to pay taxes all over again. Does that make sense to you?
To the government.
Are you property of the government right now?
Not anymore. So it definitely does not make sense to me.
So does it make sense to you? That's all I'm asking. Does it make sense to you?
I want all of my money. I mean, and as somebody who pays taxes, and to give you an example, when I had my first 6-figure year, I almost lost my mind in how much I paid in taxes. Paid in taxes my first 6-figure year more than some people earned in a year. And I know that is such a first world problem, and that is something that I should not be complaining about. But when you get to a level where you earn something, so it's not like my salary, it's not like my paycheck is given to me because I showed up. I put in work, I earned it. I earned it from multiple streams of income. So I earned my money. And then to have to give a portion of it to the government when they didn't put any of this work in, I did all of the work. I pay into a Social Security system that I may never see a dime from. I pay into certain systems that may not even be there to benefit me, but in the long run, off of what I earned, I paid a portion of it to the government on the front end. And then, just like you stated, anytime I go out to buy anything, that year I went out and bought a new car. That year I went out and I bought my condo. Those were I immediately get taxed for spending the money that I earned. So I'm paying taxes that are already taken from me. So I never see that money up front. And then I
got another one for you too. I got another one
on the money that I actually earned. Like it's just so crazy to see how this system works, because as a taxpayer, you wonder where all of the tax dollars go to. What does it fund? And I talked about. I'm going
to tell you one of the things it funds right now. I'm going to tell you one of the things it funds right now. I'm going to let you finish. All right, I'm going to let you finish. But I'm going to tell you one of the things it funds right now.
No,
it funds these elected officials that were elected, that you voted or that you did or did not vote for, that work for you. So make sure you hold them accountable. Go ahead. Finish your statement.
No, I was actually closing it out. I was just, in my mind, it made me think about J. Cole's song, Brackets, from his last album. He talked about, and it was funny because in between verses, he had a little skit where he said he was receiving a phone call from Uncle Sam. And he was saying, hey, when I make my first million, I'm going to take care of you. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, how much do you want from it? And Uncle Sam says, half. And he's like, what do you mean half? And when you get to that level, you're being taxed for an amount. And for someone who comes from a lower level, who achieves a higher level, you want to know, hey, well, where does this money go to? So if I made $1 million, and I believe the technical amount is 48.5% goes to tax. So if I make $1 million, I don't actually make $1 million. I make $1 million. I made 520,000, and out of that 520,000, then whatever I purchase during that time frame is taxed as well. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, you don't even take home half of what you've earned. So it just gets into, and I know we didn't even get to talk about public safety and the police and the military. We didn't even get that far into the business of America, because I know we took a little longer on the tax part. But man, it's just so crazy how income affects growth in America.
Well, I wanted to run one more tax situation by you. So, okay, you've gone out, you bought your TV, right? From Best Buy or whatever, you bought your TV, you're happy, you're ready to put that thing up. You went to the casino, you won $50,000, you're feeling good. You're feeling good, right?
Right.
You end up getting into a really bad car accident on your way home, right? And you got to go to the hospital. But don't worry, you live, and you're going to make a full recovery, okay? However, the person that hit you was at fault, and you are able to win a lawsuit to have to get money. Basically, you're going to get your money. You're going to get your medical bills paid for. You're going to have some money. But guess what? I know you can guess. I know you can guess what that. You're going to be taxed. You were going to be taxed on that. They're going to tax you on that. They are going to take their taxes. Just letting you know right now.
So my pain and suffering has a tax.
I guess so. Your pain and suffering has a tax. So I guess what happens is the government actually takes some of that pain and suffering for you, so you don't have to be in pain and suffer as much, and they take what they took from the equivalent, and they take the money as the equivalent and put it in their pocket. So you probably would have been a lot more hurt than you were, but the government took some of that pain off of you and put it on them. So they wanted their cut. Pain and suffering. I'm just saying.
Welcome to the business of America, ladies and gentlemen.
This is the business of America. We got under 5 minutes left in the show. We've been rambling on and on. If you missed any portions of this show will be available on YouTube. You can go to our Facebook page right now at New Twist Radio and check out any show that you may have missed that happens here on New Twist Radio. This is the 10th episode of Intelligent Ignorance, officially.
Episode 10.
This is episode 10 of Intelligent Ignorance. And, we're going to keep it coming for you. We got We got a lot of things to discuss, man. We got a lot of things to discuss. 215-383-3992. Actually, I'm not going to give that phone number out anymore because a lot of times we get people that will call at the last minute. You know, we get people that call at the last minute and they'll have something they want to say, and I always want to give them their time. And then we won't be able to end the show.
5 minutes of the show.
Don't you wait till the last 5 minutes of the show. Don't you do it. I'll tax you. You will get taxed. I'm going to tell you right now. Thinking about something, right? I just have these random thoughts, okay? You know how it was said that once slavery was abolished, the slave was supposed to, or the former slave was supposed to get, the free man was supposed to get 40 acres and a mule, right? 40 acres of land and a mule to till it, right? Am I right?
That's what they said.
That's what they said, and we know that it never really happened. Okay, we know this. Now I say that to say that a lot for a long time, black folks have been talking about reparations, right? Reparations would be a payment, some type of payment that would, for the time of slavery, for slaves working for free for as long as they did. Okay. Being forced to work for free, excuse me. It wasn't a choice. Slaves being forced to work for free for as long as they did. Reparations will probably never happen in the form that people were like wanting it to happen in. And when I say that, I mean like people want to check. Okay. But how about this, R. Dot? And, there may be a lot of holes in my theory. And it's just something I thought about. I don't know nothing from nothing. I'm intelligently ignorant over here, okay? How about if black folks receive reparations by not having to pay taxes? Would that help? Of course it would help. Would that be something that is doable?
That just might be my platform for 2020. No black taxes.
Oh, you're not going to win. I'm going to tell you right now, you ain't going to
win. No black taxes.
No, read my lips.
Got a nice ring
no black taxes. Yeah, you're not going to win that.
What was Montgomery Brewster's campaign slogan?
Oh, what? Oh, you're talking about one of my favorite movies. Doggone, what was his? It was Vote for Nobody? No, none of the above.
None of the above.
That's what it was. None of the above. Or you could just write my name or write R.Dot's name in there. Look, we got under a minute left in the show. You got any last words? We got about 30 seconds.
Oh, man, I just definitely want to say a huge shout out to the Wilmington Wolfpack. They are holding another open tryout again today at Alpha One Fitness in Newark, Delaware. So if you are interested in playing semi-pro football, make sure you come check out the Wilmington Wolfpack today at Alpha One Fitness, 3 p.m., Newark, Delaware. Look them up on Instagram, Wilm Wolfpack.
All right. And look, follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that good stuff, Snapchat and all that, YouTube and all that good stuff. If you missed any portion of this show will be available. If I sent you the link, you can listen to the show at any time. And you can check us out at any time on YouTube. So look, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for checking us out on Intelligent Ignorance. Thank you for checking out New Twist Radio. We will talk to y'all next week. We love y'all for loving us. Peace.
Peace out.